I guess internet protocols, and he's been working on wireless communications and security recently. And his talk today is about real-time visualization of network attacks on high-speed links. So
thank you. Nice to meet you. I'm visiting Professor Ki-Hong Park's lab this semester from Korea University. And as just mentioned, I come from the TCP/IP background, so I'm a networking guy, not really a security guy. But I've done some work in network security a couple of years ago, and this work is about that work. Okay, and the work is about visualizing network attacks. Network attacks meaning DOSes, DDoSes, and worms and scans and things like that. So we are interested in visualizing those attacks for probably network operators. Okay. So the outline of the talk is this. It's a three-part talk. So in the first part, we'll talk about the literally visualizing the attacks. And the second part is about more algorithmic, more automatic stuff that extracts the attacks and sort of classifying the attacks and if possible, calibrating it, measuring the intensity of the attacks. And the third part is sort of an extension to an earlier work. I'm not working on this, but my colleague at Korea University is on it. And it's called PCAP, Parallel Coordinate Attack Visualization. And so we will talk about these three stuffs in this talk. Well, why visualize? We can talk about the shortcomings of the conventional systems like IDSs. It is known that they have issues with unknown attacks. I mean, if they have signatures already, it's fine. But if they don't, I mean, it is a fresh kind of attack, and they have trouble detecting it. And also, it is also known that IDSs in the current systems have high false positive ratio, meaning it generates a lot of information, but about the possible attacks, but most of them are not true. Okay, so you have to go through all those possible attack reports and find the real attacks. And the outputs are mostly text-based, so you have trouble sort of imagining what's going on. Well, if you use visualization, first of all, it's very intuitive. I mean, it makes you grasp what's going on. Okay, in one picture. Okay, just like the guy looking at this picture. Right? And it's very robust against noise. Okay, if you look at a picture, then you almost immediately get the information that you want from the picture. Okay, you remove sort of the noises, the pieces of information that you don't want. And it can reveal the hidden attacks, usually not caught by the conventional systems. We'll see about that later on. And it can also inspire new approaches. And actually, the second part of the talk is about this new inspiration given by this visualization work in the first part. So we can sort of summarize the lessons from this work as a picture is worth 1,000 words. Okay, so well, how do we sort of visualize attacks? Okay, we talk about DDoSes and worms and scans, but it's not straightforward to imagine the attacks going on. I mean, represented in visual forms. So how do we do that? Well, basically, the idea starts from this observation. Okay, the most interesting attacks that we talk about can be sort of classified in a single framework if we use these three values: destination IP addresses, source IP addresses, and destination ports. Well, DDoSes or DOSes, if you look at that kind of attack, you will see that the source IP addresses are usually spoofed, meaning forged, in order to evade the traceback. If you look at scans or worms, you will mostly see that the destination port is fixed. The source address is also obviously fixed because there should be the scanner sitting there, but the destination IP address, constantly changes from one scan packet to another, because it has to check, as many vulnerable hosts as possible. So if you look at these three fields, easily obtainable from most of the internet packets, you can classify the attacks in a single sort of framework. So if you sort of visualize this idea, you can draw this picture. Okay, you talked about three values, so we're going to use those three values to generate this 3D space, and the 3D space will be drawn on these three axes: source IP address, destination IP address, and destination port. And if you think about, say, a host scan, okay. Sorry, let's go back. Okay, so if you think about this host scan, the source IP address coordinate will be fixed, and the destination port number will be fixed. I mean, for instance, you might be looking at the vulnerability in secure shell, buffer overflow, stuff like that. And then you will look at port 22. Okay, so the port number will be fixed. But since you're looking, you want to get as many vulnerable hosts from the global internet, you will get in touch with lots and lots of different hosts that have different IP addresses. So if you plot those attempts in this space, you will see a line forming gradually. Okay, you get a point here, point there, but those points will be aligned along a line. Okay. Likewise, if you see a port scan, okay, if an attacker is targeting a single victim and wants to sniff any vulnerability, okay, any open service, then it'll go through the port number space of that machine, target machine, while the source IP address and the destination IP address, is fixed. Okay, so that's our idea. The rectangle is a kind of DOS. But depending on the software or the script, the destination port number can be spoofed, quote unquote. But that's, it's not really spoofing, because the attacker doesn't really care about the destination port numbers as long as the attack packets arrive at the destination IP. Okay, so in some cases you'll find that the DOS attacks randomly changing the destination port numbers too. In that case, you will get this rectangle. If you put all those attack packets in this space, plot all of them in this space, you will get this rectangle. That was our idea. And at the time that we came up with this idea, we couldn't check if our intuition was correct. Okay, if this is a viable idea. But from some traces we got, we could sort of get the feeling that the intuition was right, because if you see this particular trace, real life trace from the internet, this is, by the way, a DOS trace. You can see that this is a time. This is 9:35 a.m. and this is the second, and this is the microsecond. Okay, so the source address is here, and the source port is here, and this destination address. We sort of sanitized the destination address in order to not reveal the identity of the victim here. And you can see the destination port. If you see the three values we mentioned earlier, this one,